Alright, so the premise of my speech, real quick before we start, is I'm speaking to a bunch of executives and managers about why they should hire an athlete. Okay, welcome everyone to my speech tonight on why you should hire an athlete. From community leaders and religious figures to politicians and executives, athletes hold a variety of key social positions. This is not a coincidence. The skills required to hold these positions, such as time management, teamwork, and having a competitive mindset, are built and developed during their participation in sports. Given the opportunity, athletes can and will lead whatever company they work for to economic success, using the skills such as the ones listed above. Athletes have skills that can directly correlate to their participation in the business world. As a student athlete myself, I can personally attest to the skills that I have gained throughout my athletic career, and I can also attest to my ability to use them in my professional career as well. They have directly translated to my career as a young business professional, allowing me to succeed and move up in every job that I have held. On the other side, it is also important for an employer to have competent employees who already have the skills and training to succeed and propel the company forward. Skills such as time management, teamwork, and having a competitive mindset all correlate to the sports and business worlds. Now, let me take you through the skills that correlate to both these worlds. The first is time management, as you can see. Between school and athletics, developing time management is incredibly important for an athlete, as success in both are required. Olympic.org states that an athlete who masters these techniques routinely are the highest achievers, even those under intense pressure, in all walks of life, including sports and business. Considering this is stated by the Olympic movement itself, there has to be some truth to this quote. Now, let me take you real quick through a snapshot of an athlete's schedule. The first, obviously, would be school. Their requirements are to make grades, usually above average, and to turn assignments in on time. The second would be their sports. The first requirement that they have to fulfill for that area is practice, which is usually multiple times a week for a couple hours a night. There is also games and competitions along with their sports activities as well, which usually can take up to a day or even more. They also may have to work. Considering an athlete doesn't usually get paid anything for their participation in their athletics, a job may be required. Social. It is required for an athlete to maintain relationships with both friends and family, obviously, so there is a social component to an athlete's schedule as well. Now, how does this relate to future success? Time management is ranked in the top 10 most desirable traits a potential employee could have, according to the University of Kent. Learning to balance an athlete's schedule is a skill which directly translates to the business world. But how does it do that? Well, as an employee, one may be required to balance many projects and tasks at one time. One is also required to have top-notch efficiency and also be able to balance an outside life with work, which allows a complete focus on the job at hand. Clearly, athletes are well versed in time management, which helps them succeed in the business world. Now, we're going to move on to teamwork. Teamwork is a crucial part of being an athlete and is another skill that directly correlates to the business world. Livestrong.com states that the team who usually wins can usually test their victory to teamwork. A team is a well-oiled machine, with each player depending on another to complete their job with effort and technique. There is also lots of trust required. According to Forbes, teamwork is the top trait an employee looks for in a prospective employee. But how is a sports team similar to a professional team? Well, both teams set goals and make a plan to achieve those goals. Both teams also prepare as individuals and as teams as a whole. Both teams practice and communicate, and both teams have individuals that support and trust the other individuals in their team. In addition to both time management and teamwork, the competitive drive is also a key component to both sports and a professional career. Having a competitive mindset is crucial for an athlete and can be the difference between winning and failing. The competitive drive is what bands the individuals of a team together, and it is the driving force for achieving the goal at hand, which is usually winning. The competitive drive is also the basis of all competition and therefore success at competition. Now we're going to go through some examples of competition in sports. Obviously, there are usually two teams competing against each other in some sort of competition or game. However, there is also competition between teammates or potential teammates. For example, last year there were 24 people who were on Austin Peay's cheerleading team. However, more than that tried out. Furthermore, only 20 people were allowed to compete at the college cheerleading nationals out of those 24. So obviously there was some competition between those who were going to make the team and didn't, and those who were going to make the nationals met and did not. Now, where is there competition in business? Well, first of all, the free market is a competitive market. This concept may be simple, but also can be intimidating for those who are not used to highly competitive environments. Someone who is well versed in athletics, though, is not intimidated by this highly competitive market that is the free market of capitalism. Interviews are also like competing, as you're competing and putting oneself forth in front of another individual in regards to a job or a position. Thirdly, competition between companies is also similar to competition between sports teams. The one with the strongest foundation, best communication, hardest working individuals, and strongest competitive drive will often win. Clearly, the traits an athlete develops while completing their sports careers can directly correlate with the skills needed and required to succeed in the business world. Athletes, if given the chance, are the epitome of hard work in the business world and can use all their resources to complete that task at hand above and beyond the requirements at hand as well. They are trained leaders and they are trained teammates, so it is common sense for everyone to hire an athlete. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a good night.